Not ready here, and we are live.
Ninja Chat.
Ninja Chat, indeed.
Let's get the chat rolling here.
I cannot wait to get a new monitor. Well, right now I'm doing everything on my laptop screen, and it's terrible because I can't get the laptop too far away or I can't see anything. I can't have the laptop too close so the mic picks up the fan. It's right in that not sweet spot, but in the not terrible spot right now. So.
Oh God, tired.
You look tired, David.
I am a little tired. I just got back from the gym and I'm kind of exhausted.
That's where I'm going after
okay.
this.
I'm gonna try to stay awake. I could really use some coffee.
Do you want to take a break? Get some coffee real quick?
No, I don't think that's gonna be a good idea.
Got a fine Irish red that I'll drink to keep myself awake today.
Oh, that's gonna keep me. Yeah, that'll definitely keep me awake. Put me to sleep. I'm going out after this, and I have to be awake for a while.
Microbrew from Utah that I decided to try. I haven't had a good Irish red for a while, so.
I like a good red ale. Nothing wrong with a good red ale. Okay. Let's see the clap. All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great. We're getting so good at this. Okay. Yes, we know Jordan has no video. Jordan is having a webcam malfunction this week, unfortunately, but you can still hear him.
Yeah, I guess we can blame it on Hangouts.
Yeah, I can blame it on Hangouts, or it might just be like a dead webcam.
Is the Logitech webcam software, it picks me up just fine. It's Windows that's being retarded.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's something to mess around with. All right, so I am going to, I guess, introduce the show. Welcome to the Android Please podcast. I'm your host, David Reddick.
I'm Ryan Whitwam.
I'm Cody Toombs.
And I'm Jordan Palmer.
So this week on the show, we have a few interesting things that happened in the Android world. I think we can probably just give you a brief summary of what we're going to be going over. Probably a little bit about the OnePlus 5, a little bit of Android Developer Preview 3, possibly a little bit more of Essential and their upcoming smartphone. And I feel like there's one other thing that we could maybe discuss, and now I'm completely forgetting what it was.
WWDC.
WWDC, there's new iOS. So there you go. New iOS has got stuff. Fancy new control center. But I think we should start with what was probably the most popular news item on the site this week, and that was a leak of an image of the OnePlus 5, which we really don't know anything else about.
Yeah, and the leak happened immediately after they were like, or maybe it was right before they like announced the phone, or like pre-announced the phone. They said they're going to announce it for real on June 20th. Yeah. And then there was the leak, and then OnePlus, I think, just today they just posted a picture of the phone officially. They're like, all right, fine, whatever.
Yeah, and I think what we can kind of glean from the photo is a decent sense of what it looks like, and also from the one that OnePlus then subsequently posted today. And it looks like, as many people have pointed out, not just an iPhone, but like a device from Oppo's portfolio, the R11. It actually looks very similar to the R11 in some ways, especially the antenna band design, which is in turn similar to that of the iPhone.
Yeah, they sort of they curve upward and they follow the line of the phone. It's interesting. If it weren't for the iPhone, I would say that's a very interesting visual flair. But then it just sort of adds to the hey, that looks like an iPhone aesthetic, which is pretty much all the comments on the article were.
Definitely. Yeah, and everybody did seem to notice that. But at the same time, I don't know why that bothers people so much. It looks fine to me. I'm not bothered.
I mean, I'm not particularly bothered by it either, but I will grant that in combination with the dual camera in the same spot as the iPhone 7 Plus is it's kind of obvious.
It's unoriginal. I'll say that.
Yeah. For all of these years, OnePlus has had their camera in the middle of the back, and then this year they moved it to the corner.
Yeah. So we know that it'll have 2 cameras and a Snapdragon 835, and that definitely makes me start thinking this is going to be a pretty spendy phone compared to the OnePlus 3 and even the 3T. So I'm going to be curious what OnePlus ends up charging. I have a feeling that somebody pointed out that without the Nexus phones being a thing anymore, OnePlus doesn't really have to worry so much about those hardcore spec enthusiasts pricing them out against a Google device. They don't have that competition.
Right. They were the only players in that space after the Pixels. So,
Yeah, but at the same time, if you buy a OnePlus phone, I mean, at least as far as we're aware, it's still going to be this way. You have to just pay full price for the phone. You just buy it.
Yeah.
And then if you want to buy a Pixel, even though it's like, more expensive, or probably will be, you could pay for it monthly.
That's true. I wonder how many people did that with the Pixel when they bought it. I mean, I'm sure everybody on Verizon did it that way.
I mean, I think I know 2 people who bought Pixels on payment plans.
Interesting. So, well, there is that. Maybe OnePlus will offer something this year in that round. I kind of doubt it, though. They don't really have any kind of U.S. business presence, so it seems unlikely. Yeah, so we'll learn a lot more about that phone, I'm sure, when it's unveiled on the 20th. But that image leak was definitely the hottest story on AP this week. And maybe it's better to move right into the Apple stuff then, because I feel like that is ripe for discussion. So there was only really one new iOS device announced, and that was the new iPad Pro, the 10.2-inch model, which replaces the 9.7-inch model as far as I'm aware. The 9.7 is going bye-bye, and the new 10.2 comes in. And the one thing about it that really stuck out to me was that Apple is now producing mobile displays, or having mobile displays produced, I should say, that run at 120 hertz, which should make it like the most buttery smooth looking mobile piece of hardware of all time.
Yeah.
120 hertz, once you see the difference, it's so hard to go back to 60. It's very, very striking. The animations look much more smooth. Everything seems more fluid. The obvious drawback is you need a chipset that's capable of smoothly running the operating system at 120 frames per second. And on Android, even locking in at 60 proves a little difficult sometimes.
Yeah, that's been a struggle for years, getting Android to run at a consistent 60 frames per second.
Yeah, so I can't wait for the day we get these 120 hertz displays on phones, because it's going to look amazing. But I definitely want to go to an Apple store and try one of these out just to see what it looks like.
How many hundreds of dollars are they asking for this device?
A $650, I believe.
Oh.
It's not as much as I would have expected.
Yeah, I would expect more.
But that is now the entry level iPad Pro, because you can go up to the 12.7-inch model or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess Apple is cognizant that people are not buying as many iPads as they once did.
That said, though, I think that the changes in iOS 11 to the tablet side of things are pretty interesting.
Yeah, they kind of make it look a little bit more like Mac OS. They're bringing good multitasking features, all the stuff you actually wanted in tablets 4 years ago. They're doing it.
Yeah, I agree. And you have things like the dock, they're bringing the dock to iOS, and the dock that's kind of if you're a Mac OS user, well, if you're not heavily keyboard shortcut reliant, the dock is pretty indispensable, and on a touch-only device, probably even more so. So now what you can do in iOS 11 is you can just, anytime you're in an app, fling up from the bottom, and your dock appears, and that's all of your commonly used apps or whatever else you want to put in there. And it's just one of those kind of little things that makes it easier to multitask and move around the OS. And they've also got a new floating mode for certain apps. It's split screening, but it's more like it pops over. For example, for Apple Messages can pop over, and you can kind of push it around like a window over pretty much any other app, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of the chat head style of thing that we've had on Android forever, just without the actual chat head.
Yeah, it's a full mini UI.
I mean,
it looks really good.
It makes me wonder what Google intends to do with tablets now, because there was a rumor floating around just recently that Andromeda was officially dead. Like they've ended work on that. Who knows if that maybe that's not true, or maybe it died a long time ago. Who knows? But I mean, this situation with tablets is just very not great right now. I mean, Google hasn't released a tablet in a couple of years now. There haven't really been any major releases lately, except for the Tab S3, sort of, but that's like a $500-$600 tablet, which is dumb.
Yeah, I feel like Google's just kind of given up on tablets. I mean, they still sell the Pixel C, which just says all that needs to be said about Google's tablet vision.
And it still costs $500, right? They've never lowered the price, which is insane.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Are they giving up on tablets, or are they just switching to the Chromebooks?
That's a good question.
I mean, I guess they think Chromebooks are probably a better bet right now because they're still making them. They're not making them themselves, but they're still like promoting this. But I mean, I don't think that Chromebooks really fill the same niche.
I mean, well, I guess I wonder if Google wants to push them that way, though, and evolve the OS that way. Because they have things like the on-screen keyboard, on Chrome OS. That's pretty good.
And we were sort of getting back into like the Andromeda thing, where it's like, hey, what if like Chrome OS and Android like had a baby? That would be kind of the thing that they're going for, sort of, because they keep making Chromebooks more Android-y.
I feel like Google has a really big tendency to go and sort of like run out waves for news cycles, and when it comes down to it, right now, Chrome OS is kind of their hot topic because they've got Android apps running on laptops. They're kind of really focused on that direction. But I don't feel like I'm ready to predict aspirations for Android are dead. It just... I think we have to wait until next year. If nothing happens next year, put a pin in it. It'll be pretty clear at that stage.
That's kind of how I feel about it. If we go another year without Google doing something substantial to make Android tablets different, then I think we can pretty much say that they don't care anymore. They've given up on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's also the statistic that came out, I think, a couple of weeks ago that said, Chromebook sales in 2016 were up like huge numbers over 2015 too.
I know. Yeah, I mean, the Chromebooks just make so much sense for so many people. I mean, I know the next time my parents want computers, I'm going to make them get Chromebooks. I'm not going to let them buy another Windows laptop.
Yeah, that's what I did with my grandparents. That's what I'm trying to get my sister to do because she uses Google Docs for school anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like, you just buy this thing, and it boots up in 10 seconds, and it has all of your stuff in it instantly. It's just a very good experience. And most people are not running Photoshop on their computers.
No, they aren't. And Chromebooks make a lot of sense for that. And honestly, transforming Chrome OS into a tablet OS is probably at this point no harder than trying to revamp Android that way.
Once they get the, I think they've rolled the Nougat based build of Android shell out to
the Samsung Chromebook Plus.
Yeah, I think that maybe it might only be in like the dev or beta channel or whatever. But once that happens,
Canary build on the Chromebook Plus, I think.
I mean, and they have like resizable apps. I feel like Chromebooks could become a completely reasonable alternative to a tablet.
Yeah, I'm right there with that because I think the convertible aspect, the fact that they're so cheap to make, it's like
I mean, like give me a Chromebook where the screen detaches and goes into tablet mode that runs Android apps, and I'll be fine.
So the keyboard's more of a dock then instead of the two.
So in other words, let's just bring back like the Transformer pad and
it was ahead of its time, David. It
really was. Because everybody knew when it came out, like that's a good idea, but then it was like, oh man,
Android.
Yeah, it was so slow and everything, but yeah, I think Chromebooks they're getting there, and I think like if you can find like the good $500 sweet spot for a device in that form factor.
I mean, maybe Google stopped working on Andromeda because they were just like, hey, wait a minute, let's just keep making Chromebooks and make the Android stuff better.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it is because Chromebooks are clearly being very successful for them, and the market seems like it's only going to grow. So whereas Android's pretty saturated.
I mean, it's the kind of computing device that people actually want right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the other thing maybe that would help sell Chrome OS in that respect is Chromebooks are excellent multi-user devices. Anybody can pick up a Chromebook, sign with their Google account. It takes like 30 seconds and just start using it. And all their Google stuff syncs up and everything's like what it should be. You know, maybe you don't get all of your Android apps, but you know, all the other stuff should just come down. And I think that's really, I think that's something, there's something to be said about that for sure.
It's very, especially in an educational setting, like you know, especially in a university, though, I wish Chrome bases, I wish those were a bigger deal versus just the laptops. Because I think LG did a Chrome base a couple of years ago. But anyway, that's what I put my grandparents on. And I haven't had a computer call since.
Yeah, there's nothing to break. It's great. Yeah, so in terms of what Apple, going back to what Apple kind of showed off, I feel like what we saw was the two big feature announcements for iOS. I wouldn't say one is a feature, one is just an app. They had that professional photo editing app. I forget what it's called. I don't remember the name. And it was pretty impressive. It seemed like kind of like a dumbed down Photoshop, but in like a not that dumbed down way.
Oh, Affinity Photo.
Yeah, Affinity Photo. That looked pretty good. And I think that Apple, you know, with the new A10X chipset is showing that, yeah, we're getting to the point where we can throw a pretty good amount of like CPU, GPU horsepower at these more intensive applications and make them work in a way that doesn't suck. You know, whereas I think on the Android side, the chipsets are definitely lagging behind a little bit still.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, and at this stage, like Apple is showing off so many features for the iPad, and I don't know how a company's really going to come up, even with Samsung's budget, create a budget. I don't see how they could possibly come up like produce something that's going to have that like market appeal to it.
Yeah, Apple's kind of run away with that. And then the integration now, like you have Apple Messages syncs to the cloud now, and so Apple Messages just works when you buy your new iPad, you know. And you know, I mean that's a basic thing. Like Hangouts has only done that since time eternal, but
yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't a thing.
While I was watching that, my immediate thought is this feels a little like a burn against Allo.
Yeah,
just because.
Yeah. But you know, and the other big announcement was probably the File Explorer app, which is like sounds like the most mundane thing in the universe, but at the same time, it shows that Apple is taking the philosophy that somebody could use this device to manage assets and files in a more serious way.
Yeah, this is the big like finally in quotation marks. It's the thing so many people have been begging for years on iOS, and having it there that actually does change a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there will definitely be apps that will be able to take great advantage of that, I'm sure.
Just ask anyone who's ever tried like writing a blog and putting pictures in on an iOS device. Oh,
yeah, it's a nightmare. Because you have to use the photo roll, and the photo roll sucks, and like it's not clear if like what folder things going in the photo roll, because there aren't folders, they're just like collections, and
it sounds awful.
It's kind of a pain in the butt. So this is, I will say, the File Explorer app on iOS is very similar to the file picker that was introduced in what was that Lollipop or Nougat or Marshmallow? I think it was Marshmallow.
Strictly speaking, it was technically it was Kit Kat.
But like the shared storage framework, that was
that happened in Kit Kat.
Was it? Wow. Well, it feels like it was much more recent than that.
There's a reason I'm kind of waffling on that, because it started in Kit Kat. I remember covering it when I was at I/O, and it sort of had this weird, like it wasn't really fully there at that time. It came in more as time went by. That came in many stages. So
okay. Because I remember there was the moment when that got an interface. That's what I'm kind of referring to.
Well, it had an interface, but good luck finding an app at that time that implemented it. Even Drive was only partially implementing it. It was really half baked at that stage. Like think about how many Google things are announced, and it takes a year or two for them to like actually hit the ground.
Yeah, it definitely took a while. But once it was there, yeah, it's a good tool. Otherwise, at WWDC, I think the most confusing announcement was the HomePod, which I don't get it. So does this thing have Siri?
It has Siri, and you could be forgiven for not understanding that at first, because I remember when this was happening, I asked in the AP chat room, like, wait, does this actually do anything other than play music? Because they really,
is it
really
Sonos?
focused on the music.
Is it like a Sonos thing or like an Echo or Home thing?
It's kind of a hybrid, I guess. I mean, it's a $350 speaker that looks like the Mac Pro trash can. And it has Siri, but it doesn't really do anything different with it. So you tell Siri what you want to listen to, and it plays music. And it can do some other basic Siri stuff like you can do on your phone. But Apple is so far behind in this voice assistant stuff. It's just really becoming a problem for them.
Liam has a good observation about the HomePod. It looks like a little pillow, which it does. I agree.
Yeah.
It's so way overpriced. It's incredible how much Apple thinks they can get away. I wonder how well these will sell. I'm genuinely of the opinion that probably even most loyal Apple fans will look at that and say, maybe not.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to do poorly.
I think that Apple is just they're very proud of themselves for figuring out how to do voice commands like at a distance, because for a long time they've just focused on Siri on the iPhone. So this was never a thing they had to worry about. But Amazon and Google were both like, hey, we want our voice assistants to be like things in your house, so they need to hear you from across the room. Now Apple's like, hey, we figured out how to do that. Give us more money, because it's like Siri, but from further away.
Yeah, but it's Siri, so it's not that good.
Yeah,
Siri is pretty awful.
My feeling at this point is that Apple knows they have to put something on the market. So this is kind of like when Google announced the Nexus Q. To some extent, it was, hey, we want to have this big thing in a presentation. We want to show it off. We're going to talk up. Can't be proud of right now. We aren't going to feature the weak points. So we're just going to stick to these couple of talking points and hope that people don't focus too hard on this thing that we're just not going to talk about. So they're definitely trying to distance themselves from using Siri. I think kind of even trying to distance themselves from the obvious topics of like HomeKit. They should have shown that off. If they had something ready to demo, they definitely would have, because that would have been such a good thing to show on stage.
Yeah, you would think so. The HomeKit stuff would seem to be kind of the big sell, because that's Apple's whole shtick, really, is the idea you buy all the Apple products and that makes your life, it integrates. And so, by having this special Apple speaker, you can control smart home devices in a way that's more effective and powerful and integrated than if you use somebody else's solution. But I think that's maybe that's why they didn't demo it, because basically all of these, devices, Alexa or Echo, I should say, leads in terms of smart home integration, and Google Home is, quickly adding quite a few accessories on its own. And I think what is happening is that, no matter what platform you're on, a lot of these smart home products don't work meaningfully better on one platform than another. They all just do the same stuff. And so there's not much for Apple to leverage as far as a reason for buy-in. Like, unless Apple comes out with like Apple light bulbs,
and don't put that past them.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised.
But and from what I understand, the Siri and HomeKit APIs for developers are not as powerful as what you can get from on other platforms.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not familiar. I wouldn't know.
From what I do have on it, it's one of those, you get a few things on Siri that you can't get somewhere else, or you get some things from Google you can't get anywhere else. Like they're all just kind of little like tent poles that they kind of own, but no one really has that like crazy powerful the SDK that everyone wants to be on.
Yeah, and this stuff is still evolving so rapidly. But the other thing I did hear about the HomePod is it does have some apparently very fancy speaker acoustics that are, should make it sound nice, and I'm sure it will sound really nice. I don't have much doubt about that.
I mean, it's supposed to learn the shape of your room and change its speaker performance accordingly. Which, okay, I mean that sounds neat, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, but like any pair of headphones can do that too if they have a microphone. It's kind of like it depends on how well it works and really what it's doing, I guess, is what that would come down to.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what? No one's gonna ever find out because it's $350 and nobody's gonna buy it.
Yeah, I feel like Sonos has such a iron grip on the market for smart speakers right now. That's all anybody really knows for home speakers is like Sonos, because Sonos works with everything. And so you buy Sonos. But I'm sure, I wonder if Apple will come out with kind of a smaller version that's cheaper, potentially around the holidays.
I mean, I don't think this is even launching until the holidays, right? It's coming out in December, I think.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Okay. Yeah. Oh.
Holidays next year, David.
Maybe holidays next year we'll get the HomePod Mini. It's such a dumb name. I'm sorry.
HomePod, yeah.
It really is. The one big thing that I think they're going to have a little, kind of a weird challenge with, though, is Google was quick to say, hey, look, we're coming out with Home. Oh, yeah, and by the way, a whole bunch of other manufacturers and even just regular people can build their own thing. And there's no way in hell that's happening with an Apple technology.
Yeah, I have to wonder what Apple's strategy there will be if they want to, because it'll basically put down the value of their own brand solution if they let partners use it. But at the same time, if they don't let partners use it, Alexa and Google Assistant are right there to take advantage of that. And Alexa obviously has been the most successful to date, but it's been around the longest. So. Yeah, I'll be curious to see what all the various Google Home and Google Assistant enabled devices that are coming out are. I'm sure there are going to be some interesting takes on that, because I would love to have, what I'm still waiting for is that stupid Shield Dot to come out, because that's exactly the kind of assistant device I want. Like in my bedroom, right next to the bed, put that there for alarms, or to ask what the weather is, maybe for music if necessary, if it's got a little speaker on it, but just as a very basic kind of smart device to keep in your house. I really want that to come out. I have a feeling it's never going to come out, actually.
Yeah,
at this point,
seems like it's been a while now.
It's been much too long. I'm getting convinced it doesn't actually exist. Yeah. So release the Shield Dot, NVIDIA. That's kind of our that's where I'm ending that. Other news this week, we had I would call it quasi news. We didn't even post about it, but it was kind of funny. The president of Essential, Andy Rubin's smartphone company, posted a picture taken by the Essential phone on his Twitter account. And let me just make sure. Oh, I think I deleted it. Yeah, I did. Oh, well. I can find it on my Twitter account here while I'm talking. But this photo that he took with the Essential phone was bad.
Yeah, it is real bad. So it's I don't know, it's either dawn or dusk, one or the other, a skyline of a city. And it is so noisy. So noisy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna screen share it here real quick. Wait, is the application window thing? There it goes. Yeah, so I'm going to. There is the photo.
Oh God!
It is a noisy, half-blurred mess. It is just not a good picture in any way, really.
And I mean, I don't know. I can understand if maybe he took it and just glanced at it on the phone screen, like letterboxed. Maybe he didn't realize how bad it was, but it's the sort of photo that you could share on Facebook and your grandma would like it, but that's it. Everybody else would think it was a really bad photo.
Yeah, it's like something that I would expect to have taken with a smartphone in 2011.
Yeah, that looks exactly many years old.
Anyone that's at all a pixel peeper is going to see this, and it won't stand up to even that half test of like it's only barely good enough for Facebook. And with how aggressively Facebook downgrades photos,
and he posted some other photos on his social media channel, like a zoomed in photo of a backstage, like for a concert. He was backstage, and it was clear he'd used digital zoom to take the photo. And I'm sure it was taken with the Essential phone too, because of course it was.
This guy, he is not a good ambassador for the brand. He should not be doing anything.
Yeah, somebody should really be giving him photography lessons. So I'll be curious to see how the Essential phone's camera does out in the real world, especially considering it's a dual camera setup, and the whole point of that, I think, in this is to, like Huawei did with the P9, to make things crisper.
It's a monochrome sensor and an RGB sensor. Now, I'm sure whoever at Essential is working on the camera software probably looked at this tweet and just shuddered.
I would be actually really upset probably.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing for them, kind of. The tweet was taken down, so the error was realized, and then I believe he tweeted the "thank you for the input." For the feedback. Thank you for joining the conversation. So that was interesting. Essential also, did we talk about this last week with the Spigen thing? I don't know if we did.
No, that was after the podcast last week, I thought.
Okay, maybe it was. So Spigen has threatened to sue Essential. Well, I shouldn't say that. They have threatened to take action. And I think they threatened to sue, because threatening to sue would be inaccurate. So Spigen owns a trademark to the word essential as relates to phone cases and like phone battery cases and phone chargers and phone whatevers. Not actual phones, but like phone adjacent things. And so Essential filed for the trademark essential at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office twice. They were denied both times. And so they just decided to keep calling themselves Essential. And now that Essential's a thing, Spigen sent us a copy of the letter that they mailed to Essential saying, hey, we own the trademark. Stop it. And so it's not clear where this is going to go, because Essential's response was basically, go F yourself. We're not doing anything.
I mean, maybe Essential could just buy Spigen, and then they would have a little bit of revenue while they mess around with this phone that's probably not going to make money.
Yeah, I wonder what Spigen's worth, because Essential just raised $300 million, so quite a chunk of change.
I mean, Andy Rubin could probably just like dig around in his couch cushions and find the money to buy Spigen.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I have a feeling that Essential will probably quietly settle this matter at some point, because I don't think that's a battle worth fighting for them, unless Andy Rubin is just going to be headstrong about it and force it through the courts. I guess we'll have to wait and see. There's also, as I said, there's a story this week that Essential got a boatload of money. That was basically it. There's a truckload of money. It went to Essential, $300 million. That's the story. So they have more money to build phones or whatever else they're building. Non-phones.
They should build a phone case. Just stick it to Spigen.
I wonder if they're gonna do a smartwatch.
That would be an interesting market to get into.
Yeah, because you would think they'd probably put their Ambient OS thing on it.
Yeah.
Not that we know anything about Ambient OS at all.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah, basically nothing at all. There's one more topic that we wanted to discuss this week. I'm forgetting what it was. We talked about OnePlus. We talked about the Essential.
Developer Preview 3.
Oh, yes. Developer Preview 3 of Android O is out. And I think one of the biggest items is obviously we know what the version number is now. It's 8.0. And I think we can probably assume from here on out that it's going to be a 1.x release or an X.0 release every year now. That just seems to be the thing.
Yes. I mean, I feel like before they were being very conservative with the numbers. They didn't want to advance too quickly. But it's not like they're going to run out of numbers. And Chrome is on like version 60 or something. So whatever.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. It just makes more sense to just go, as a one digit or one number every year.
For normal people to keep track of the version number, like iOS.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so as far as changes we've seen at this point, I don't think there's been a ton of them. One kind of neat one that's an aesthetic alteration is now all media notifications in the OS. They'll pull a color palette from the thumbnail or album art of whatever media is playing, and they'll give the notification a color scheme. It's cool. It's adds some flair.
I don't know how to feel about that.
Really? I kind of like it.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of garish.
I've seen a couple of screenshots now where it produces a notification that just looks so completely out of place with everything else, and it's like, no, fine, I guess if you really need it to be seen, that's okay, but I don't like it.
Okay, no love for the themed media notification.
Yeah, no, I liked it, but
they fixed the order of the Wi-Fi and cell icons, I believe. So,
yeah, that was bugging me a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I'm okay with that change. That's put it back the way it should be.
Yes, definitely. And I believe they changed once again the loading animation for the OS, because now it's like just a little line that goes across over and over. It's not the dots anymore, which doesn't. I like the dots. They can bring back the dots.
Well, the dots are on the home screen.
I actually wouldn't miss those dots. They're okay if it's only going for a little bit, but somehow they get really annoying if they go on for more than like 3 or 4 rounds.
Yeah, it's true. Other thing I've noticed, I didn't use Developer Preview 2 at all. So I installed Developer Preview 1 and used it for a little while just to mess around with it. And I will say that I've got Developer Preview 3 on I'm using Developer Preview 3 as my daily driver OS right now, and have been for like 4 or 5 hours. It is so fast. It's noticeably faster than Nougat.
Really?
I definitely
the Pixel's already blazing fast.
It's definitely quicker. I'm especially noticing it in certain apps, and Google said they've really increased the performance of certain application workloads.
I mean, that's always, I think, been an underappreciated feature of the Pixel, is that it is just stupid fast. And if they made it even faster, and that's impressive.
Well, and very consistent, I think, is what I would say. The Pixel's very, very consistent. And I feel like has made it not just consistent, but now even more blazing quick. Things definitely seem to come up very rapidly. Granted, Google Play Music still runs like crap.
Always will.
I hate that app so much.
So we still do not know what the name is. It just says it just says 8.0 in the settings, but we don't have any code name or anything.
Yeah, no code name yet.
I believe it had like a teaser. Usually they have some sort of like
we had a ton of it at I/O.
Yeah, at least a dozen different things that they've kind of kicked out there. Is like, we might call it this, but we're not saying.
Like the Oreos they did have press lounge. Oh my god! They
have bins full of Oreos all over the place. So
yeah, that was ridiculous.
I know it's it's just one more thing in the list, but I feel like the choice of using a very decidedly orange color for the visual, like all the iconography for it is all very, very bright orange. I kind of feel like they're going to choose something orange related for the name.
Like an orange?
Android orange.
Yes, really.
It's not a dessert, but, oranges are kind of sweet.
It's a sweet treat, sort of, I guess.
Android orange soda. I would be down for orange soda.
Yeah,
I could do Android orange soda.
I'd be down for that.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Oreo's obviously trademarked. I'm finding now that I'm trying to become more aware of what candy names are actually trademarked and what are generic, because I want to know what Android stuff is going to be called.
Yeah, I'm definitely down with orange soda because I think the statue could be good. Granted, Google does not seem interested in doing good dessert statues anymore.
Yeah, that's been dead for a while. Ship sailed.
Yeah, it's like, because I feel like somebody's saying like, no, we can't tarnish the Bug Droid brand. The candy has to be separate. It's bullshit.
Amen.
Yeah, no, the statues are super boring now.
Yeah, they really are.
Oh wait, how
Ever since
about
what? Lollipop?
I mean, the
Kit
lollipop
Kat-
one was
so.
kind of fun, I guess, but like not really.
Or like the marshmallow,
Yeah.
they could have done a marshmallow bug droid.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
totally missed the boat.
It's shaped like a bug droid, a marshmallow, and they just were like, no,
Yes.
it's gonna hold the.
Well, like in the
They
debug
basically
icon.
could've- Well, they could have done basically the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but done it as Bug Droid.
Exactly.
Like that's what everyone actually wanted.
The number of missed
Yeah.
opportunities here is deeply frustrating. But so I will share some Android O related news that I heard. We didn't post it on the site because, well, it's a rumor. But from a source that I feel like is pretty reliable, I have heard that the Android O, the official OTA for the Pixels, should probably drop in the first week or two of August, which will put it a few weeks earlier than the Pixels got nougat, or the Nexuses, I should say, got nougat last year. And I feel like we are seeing Google ramp up the schedule because this developer preview arrived a week before it probably we would have expected it to. So Google's definitely moving along with Android O.
That'd be cool.
It would be good.
The next round of Pixels in October still?
I guess, yeah, I have to assume. And I mean, using it for the last few hours, it seems we're getting pretty close to done.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't think, even if they've got the developer previews going out faster and maybe even get O released sooner, it doesn't really impact hardware schedules.
Yeah, I mean, they could release Android O, next week and still not release a new Pixel until October.
Yeah, exactly. Right. The hardware release cycle. So if anybody's confused about that, I mean, obviously the Nexus has got nougat last year, way before the Pixels were announced.
Yeah,
they got nougat in the third week of August. The Pixels weren't the
Pickles.
the Pixels weren't announced until October. What is that, 14th or something like that? Yeah, it was way later.
Yeah, well, definitely Android P is going to be Pickle.
Yep, Android Pickle.
Oh, that'd be great.
Just completely ditching the desserts. It doesn't matter anymore. Just a pickle.
Google doesn't care anymore. We know that.
I mean, they're preparing for Q. Is like, what's Q gonna stand for? I don't know. They just need to make up something random.
Oh God, yeah, that's quite a quandary they're gonna have.
But I feel like we're probably gonna start seeing Pixel 2 leaks this summer.
I would think so.
It'd be a good time.
Hopefully we'll see some Pixel 2 leaks. I'm curious to see how many phones there end up being, because right now we know of 3 code names: Muskie, Walleye, and Taman. And so that would mean 3 phones. I have a feeling there will only be 2. That is my inclination.
3 would be a tough sell, I think.
Yeah. So I'm waiting to see how this plays out. But my gut is telling me that there are going to be 2 Pixel phones this year.
Do you want to bet a pie on it?
Not yet. I'm getting there.
It's been a couple of years since you had to hit yourself with a pie, so
that's true. Yeah, we could consider a pie bet, or maybe like an Oreo pie. There you go.
An Oreo pie.
Yes, definitely. So we can look into that. Does anybody else have any other burning topics they want to discuss this week?
No, other than I got the Xiaomi Mi 6 last week.
Oh, is Mi UI still terrible?
So my review spoiler, good phone. It's still MIUI 8, even though it's based on Nougat now, and it's so outdated. It feels so stale and boring now.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah, I mean it's not good. They need to get MIUI 9 out the door. It's starting to feel. I mean, David, it's starting to sound like how you described Sense on the U Ultra and the U11, that it's starting to feel old. Like it's stagnating a bit. So it's not a. And the other thing is, on paper, this phone should be like a beast, and it's slow as hell. It's a Snapdragon 835, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage.
Yeah,
I think it's UFS 2.0 too, and it's just a dog.
MIUI has a lot of unnecessary junk in it, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I've turned off all the
software.
Yeah, This is a retail unit, and
That's gross.
I've got all of the optimizations turned off, the battery saving, all that nonsense that Xiaomi insists on that makes it a worse user experience. Battery life's great though.
It shocks me how many companies are still doing that ridiculous battery optimization thing to like kill your apps in the background. Who wants that?
Yeah, it's awful. And then the other thing is this phone it's a 5.15-inch screen, and it's such a dense, heavy little phone. Like it's noticeably heavier than the G6. About, for me, you know, off the cuff, about as heavy and dense as the BlackBerry Key 1 felt. Which makes sense. They packed a lot of high-end stuff into a really small body. But,
oh, wow. So it's got a 3350 milliamp hour battery and a 5.15-inch phone. That's quite beefy.
Yeah, and the screen's okay. Nothing special. It's the price, though. I think it's like the one they sent me is the $370 one.
Okay.
Roughly brought over from the Chinese.
And so that's a 64 gigabyte model?
No, I got the 128 and 6
Oh,
gig.
okay. Yeah, it looks like they both come with 6 gigabytes of RAM. At least that's what I'm reading here. But
I could have sworn they did a 4 gig, but I might be misremembering. But I mean, you'd think on paper, you'd think it would be a hell of a phone, and it's not.
That's unfortunate. I mean, I like it in this, like, what is like a purpley blue color that they have going on.
I wish they had sent me that one. I got the piano black fingerprint magnet.
Oh, I see. I like a good kind of purpley blue. Yeah, looks like they've got that, and like there's a ceramic version. It looks like
the ceramic sounded super cool, and then there's that silver one, that special edition silver one.
Interesting.
Xiaomi's really proud of the camera. That's what they keep talking up, and it's okay. I put it below the G6 on a lot of stuff, but I haven't really, pushed it yet. So we'll see. But I'm hoping to have that review done in the next few days.
Excellent.
But, I mean, and the fingerprint scanner sucks. It's really depressed into the front. So I hate front.
That's weird.
Yeah, I hate front-mounted sensors anyway, but it's really depressed into the body of the phone. So it actually wouldn't read my thumb when I was setting up the phone. It didn't like how calloused and beat up my thumbs are for reading this for reading my print. So that was quite frustrating when I got the phone. Almost rage quit. But anyway, so that's the Mi 6 in a nutshell. It's okay. I'm sure a lot of people are going to buy it, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to love it for some reason.
Yeah, a lot of people in China, I'm sure, are going to buy it. But it sounds like even Xiaomi's even having a hard time its home market at this point.
They've declined quite a bit in the last few years.
That's why I heard they pushed off their supposed U.S. plans.
I don't think they're ever going to come to the United States.
No.
I think that's totally off the table. All right, so I know it's a little bit of a shorter show than usual, but there really wasn't a whole lot of interesting stuff going on this week because of WWDC. Apple sort of stole the show, especially with new MacBook updates, new iMac updates, iMac Pro, which is okay. Can we talk about the iMac Pro for a second? What does everybody think of the iMac Pro? Because I'm like, this feels like the biggest cop out for like a high-end workstation.
So how much does that Microsoft Surface Studio cost? That big one that folds down?
Not $5,000.
Yeah, isn't it like $2,800?
It's pretty pricey though.
It's like almost $3,000, something like that.
Yeah, I think it starts at $3,000. That's what I want to say.
I don't know who.
And to be fair, it starts with really weak specs though.
I feel like who is going to buy the iMac Pro? I feel like people who want a powerful Mac desktop are just waiting for the new Mac Pro refresh.
Yeah. So the Surface Studio starts at $2,999. It goes up to $4,200 for the 2 terabyte Core i7 version with 32 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, its high point is not as expensive as the iMac Pro.
That's about it. Down to.
I mean, it's one of those things. It's obviously more of an. I don't want to call it a novelty device, but it sort of is. It's there to.
It kind of does feel like that.
Yeah, it's there to appeal if you have the money and you want to throw it at something, and that's that's just there for you and you just can't wait to buy it, all right, you're the target market. That's about it, though.
I laughed. I saw I was doing some catching up today after getting back in town, and I saw the 5 grand. It's like,
I think Apple is they're still of the opinion that whatever they make is worth a premium, but other stuff has gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
And are all-in-ones still a big market? I thought they were kind of dropping.
I mean, I don't think they are for people who want high-end machines.
But yeah, I mean, my wife loves her iMac, but she uses it.
I mean, I'm sure Apple knows that there are all these like boutique companies out there, and big tech companies that will pay to just put a row of iMac Pros in like an office space.
Yeah.
Make money hand over fist selling those.
You walk into a shop or something, they've got an iMac Pro. Raises the bar.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, the murdered out look, I dig it. It looks good. All right, it's a cool looking iMac.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a good 1,000 to 2,000 of the price is the color,
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Always.
Joni Ive breathes on every iMac Pro.
So there's kind of a little niche topic in this, though, that it's been killing me. I love it. Port.
The what port?
And we talked about this when we changed our focus for the show. Our very first episode was talking about the headphone jack. Where's the lightning port for those headphones that Apple's pushing? Everyone thought that eventually that was going to be coming to the Mac lineup, and it's not in the MacBook Pros. Now they've refreshed the iMac and it's not there. They've PC heavily. They still have headphone jacks on all their computers.
Yeah, I mean, I really wonder what they're going to do about the lightning port on their iDevices. It just seems so out there by itself now.
I kind of have this feeling that they're just biding time to they're trying to figure out when they should swallow their pride and throw out the lightning port.
Yeah, I mean,
even though it's actually a really good port.
So observation, the new iPad Pro, the 10.2-inch model, has a USB-C connector at the brick end of the charger. So, and obviously the port on the iPad is still Lightning. So they're doing USB-C to Lightning.
It's crawling slowly up the cable until it gets to the device.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
You know what? Apple is probably trying to figure out some way they can have a Type-C port, but still have some sort of proprietary component that requires accessory makers to go through them to do something.
Yeah.
They still have some kind of control over it.
Some kind of maybe fast charging or something.
Because it'll get to the point where it's just transparent that that's all they're doing. They're just protecting the proprietariness of the port. USB-C is the future. Everything's going to start using it, unless you're Microsoft and are stupid and release laptops without it in 2017. Yes. But otherwise, yeah, USB-C is definitely the way forward. Even Apple has acknowledged that. So, all right. I think that should wrap it up for this week's show. Thank you for listening, everybody, and we'll see you all next week. Right, export recording. Jordan, you can just send me a direct link to the file again. I'm going to stop the broadcast.